would rather you look into here at the moment and attention now here. Being here, listen to it. No, but it's you. It's also, it's a lot of other people. There's indigenous, but here you're making a scene. Seriously, you're making a scene. And it's disrespectful to the black, to the life of the blacks. If you are in the middle, in the center there, now when she was talking,
I speak a little bit. Guys, we're sorry for this, first, Black Lives Matter, right? Yeah. And that is the most important. There is, we didn't see it really, like the guy just coming to complain to us about there is flyers which was distributed to you guys. And this flyers, it's a white man who came and distributed it, and it's like, oh look, as the man here, this man, he felt that it's like, oh, this white man is coming and giving you these flowers, oh look at George Floyd and the black are killed, And he felt really insulted, and he felt very much, very like, this is not the narrative that we're trying to say. And we really do understand that, And we didn't know about this one, like this, who was distributing it and why, and what is there. So we apologize for it. It's in there, but it's not our statement. Our statement it is already like here, That is one thing. The second thing is the fact that Brian is speaking here because there is no one of the indigenous group here, black indigenous group in Australia. So she had to speak, So we have no other options, And we try to bring voices from there to speak to you from here. So that's why we have a black person, for sure, a black person or a POC person, the types of color would be speaking to you here. That's why we're so sorry for this, but it's good to clarify that we are we put the black life and the black voice and the black body in the center, They have to speak, and we very much have to, they have to be centered in our struggle. Is that okay? Black Lives Matter. Okay? That's very important. I think with that, Brian, can we just can you continue talking, please? I know, how many testimonies we still have? Yeah. Yeah, can we just continue with the Brazil and then we continue a little bit back to here? That would be nice. Now I would say it's good to listen to the black brutality in Brazil, and it will be translated. As you know, there is a huge amount of victims in Brazil. It's one of the largest black communities outside of Africa, and they are discriminated. There are many police brutalities there. And there are huge, hundreds of victims that are being affected by it. And Gabriel from Columbus Invisible, she will explain that. They will speak about the situation in Brazil and the police brutality in Brazil. Thank you.
Boa tarde, meu nome é Gabriel Araújo, sou do Brasil, morava em São Paulo até 2 meses atrás.
Thank you. My name is Gabriel Araújo. I'm from Brazil. I lived in São Paulo until 2 months ago.
O Brasil é o país com a maior população negra fora da África e atualmente o epicentro do coronavírus, da pandemia.
Brazil is the biggest black population outside of Africa and currently is the epicenter of COVID-19.
De forma que nesse momento tem acontecido diversos processos de genocídio de Estado no Brasil, tanto em relação ao próprio Covid, que já são quase 50 mil mortes.
In that, it's happening a genocidal process in Brazil, and COVID-19 is part of that, with more than 50,000 deaths already.
Isso de números oficiais, que são subnotificados. Além disso, tem havido processo de intensificação do desmatamento da Amazônia, tem acelerado o genocídio indígena também. junto com, né, a gente tem tido relatos garimpeiros durante a pandemia tem levado intencionalmente o Covid-19 para aldeias isoladas, né, acelerando, causando mais mortes.
And these are subnotified numbers because they're not testing for COVID in Brazil. And also there's the fires and destruction in Amazon, which is accelerating the genocide of the native people from Brazil, and some people that work getting wood and mining in the region are taking COVID-19 on purpose to the indigenous people, so they die faster.
Em São Paulo, que é onde eu moro, a gente se organiza na rede de proteção e resistência contra o genocídio, né, na luta contra a violência policial.
In São Paulo, where we used to live, we help organizing the network against black genocide.
E nesse contexto atual, ao invés de a pandemia diminuir, o congelamento social diminuir a quantidade de assassinatos policiais, ele só tem aumentado, né? No Brasil, a polícia mata 17 vezes mais negros do que nos Estados Unidos.
And with the pandemic and social isolation, the logic would be that the numbers would go down, but they are actually increasing. And Brazil, the police in Brazil kills 17 times the number of people who the police, Brazilian police kills 17 times the number of people that the number of black people that the police from the United States kills per year.
Anteontem, no dia 14, um jovem negro de 15 anos, o Guilherme, ele foi sequestrado por policiais e ele foi torturado e morto com tiros nas mãos e na cabeça. Esse contexto fez com que explodisse uma revolta no Jardim Miriam, na periferia de São Paulo.
In the beginning of this week, a black boy, a black 15-year-old boy called Guilherme, was kidnapped, tortured, and killed with shots in his hands and head by the police in São Paulo, and that started a uprising in Jardim Miriam, which is a poor region of São Paulo.
Essa revolta tem sido brutalmente reprimida. No dia 14, quando houve a revolta mesmo, tinha mais de 500 policiais no bairro, enfim, patrulhando todo mundo, muita violência. Tem diversos vídeos nas redes sociais da polícia agredindo a população aleatoriamente no Jardim Miriam.
The police is brutally repressing the community in Jardim Miriam. There's been, in the first day of the uprising, there's been more than 500 policemen in the neighborhood, and they are beating and randomly violating people in the community. There's many videos on the internet showing that.
Mesmo assim, nos dias seguintes houveram novas manifestações no bairro, né? E anteontem e agora no domingo a família, junto com a rede de outras organizações do movimento negro, está chamando um ato na missa de 7º dia do Guilherme.
Even so, the community continued to struggle and do demonstrations against this. And now this Sunday, the family has called for a Christian cult for his death, and yeah, some organizations are also supporting them.
Além disso, nas prisões brasileiras, o Brasil é a terceira maior população carcerária do mundo. São algo em torno de 800 mil pessoas presas. A imensa maioria negros, de origem afro-indígena, né, negros e pardos.
Also, Brazil is the third country in prison population. There's more than 800,000 people incarcerated, and most of them are black and native people.
E durante a pandemia, os presídios têm se tornado um dos epicentros, né? Os dados oficiais já são algumas centenas de mortes nos presídios, o que tem provocado rebeliões e protestos de familiares também.
So the official data is hundreds of people already dead in the prisons, and this is generating a lot of rebellions, both from the side of the people who are in prison and also their families. The prisons are super crowded, and this increases the rate of contamination. And also, even before the pandemic, a lot of prisoners would die every day from common diseases that are incurable.
Nesse momento, a gente tem tentado fazer essa denúncia, assim, acho que é um momento que a gente entende que a gente precisa conseguir engajar mais pessoas e conseguir espalhar o máximo possível essa denúncia para tentar fazer frente a essa situação.
We're trying to expose the situation so more people know what's going on in Brazil, because the situation is really bad. Eu vou ler um pedaço de uma nota recente da Rede de Proteção e Defesa contra o Genocídio, que conta um pouco dos casos que aconteceram nos últimos meses. Não são todos os casos da polícia, de violência policial no Brasil, são só mais nos últimos 2, 3 meses, né? Que, na prática, a polícia mata mais, né? A polícia em São Paulo mata uma pessoa negra por dia, assim, em média. E no Rio de Janeiro, chega a 4. I'm going to read part of a public note released by the Network Against Genocide, mentioning some of the cases were involved. These are all recent cases from São Paulo. There were far more cases even in São Paulo, but the rest of Brazil. But this is some of the ones that we're trying to help. And in São Paulo, 1 black person is killed per day, and in Rio de Janeiro, it's 4. In total in Brazil, I think it's 14 per day.
No dia 20/5 foi assassinado pela polícia Rodrigo Cerqueira, 19 anos, enquanto trabalhava como vendedor ambulante.
On the 20th of May, Rodrigo Cerqueira, of 19 years old, was murdered by the police while he was working as seller. On the 21st of May, Gabriel Silva Dantas, of 15 years old, was murdered by the police. On the 22nd of May, Juan Oliveira Ferreira, of 16 years old, was murdered at his own house in front of his family firehouse. On the 17th of March, Felipe Santos Miranda, of 18 years old, and Brian Ferreira dos Santos, of 16 years old, were killed by shots. On the next day, on the 18th of March, Igor Bernardo dos Santos, 17 years old, were also shot in the same region. all these killings are by the police. Cauã Alves de Almeida, of 16 years old, was shot in the face. He went to the hospital, but he couldn't resist. And a group of police in São Paulo shot two young men, me and Juan, and left them without medical assistance in the street in Osasco. Both died. People around tried to help them, but the police repressed people who were trying to save them. And Davi Nascimento, of 23 years old, was murdered in the night of the Friday, 24th of April, after he was asked to enter a police car in Jaguaré, in São Paulo. There's also Igor, a 16-year-old boy killed by the police with a shot in the head. Cauã of Vila Alba, a 16-year-old also, who was shot at 9 in the morning in the head. And all of them were killed in Cidade Tiradentes. And Davi was kidnapped by police and tortured and murdered when he was in front of his house. And also Adriano Mariano, 17-year-old, who was also killed in Cidade Tiradentes, in São Paulo.
É importante enfatizar que essas mortes, por exemplo, do coronavírus, elas são mortes perfeitamente evitáveis, né? Que isso é parte de um projeto eugenista explícito do Bolsonaro, assim como do Trump, de deixar essas pessoas para morrer, né? Eram mortes perfeitamente evitáveis se qualquer medida fosse tomada.
It's important to emphasize that all these deaths due to COVID-19 could be avoided. This is eugenistic plan from Bolsonaro and Trump to actually exterminate the black poor population of Brazil.
Eu queria enfatizar também essa urgência, esse desespero em relação a trazer mais repercussão às pessoas que estão fazendo essa luta no Brasil, no sentido de também trazer mais proteção para essas pessoas, porque também é isso, a gente sofre ameaças, a polícia, é muito difícil bater de frente com o Estado, né?
I would like to emphasize the urgency and the necessity of having international support in the struggle because people are heavily, brutally repressed in Brazil when they are trying to mourn their deaths, and knowing these names and talking about this and spreading the word actually helps protecting those families who are struggling for justice. This is it. Thank you.
Black Lives Matter! 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 No justice, no peace!
No justice, no peace!
No justice, no peace!
No justice, no peace!
Thanks to Gabriel for I always say that's why we always say his name, George Floyd. Say his name.
George!
Say his name.
George Floyd!
Say his name.
George Floyd!
Say his name.
George Floyd!
And you know there are many others we don't know of Juan and Felipe and Gabriel and Igor and David and Brian and Rodrigo and many others. And we love them, right? And we always need to remember those people have names, have stories, have memories, and have a huge structure of police brutality and dictatorship and like colonialism and system of imperialism and that invades places where the police become a structure, an internalized structure of colonialism that just suppress the people and oppress the people and bring people down and down and down until many of those being killed. Just remember that last year in the U.S. there was about 300 black lives have been taken by the police, and only from the beginning of this year there is about 88 lives have been taken also by the police in the U.S. Germany the same. There is thousands of others that are still waiting for justice to be taken from the German racist, I would say, regime that is becoming slowly fascist somehow. And therefore, we must also remember those names. Remember that there are many that need us to remember that those have stories. Diane have cried not because she is white and she feels for those people. It's okay. You know, she's not in the center. Don't also for those white people, just to make sure. She was not in the center. She's just trying to say the story of other indigenous people in Australia. And since nobody is here, she had to speak it, and it feels hard, and I fully understand, and I think we all should understand, right? But we need to make sure that this is clear, you know, but she's not in the center. You know, not because she's crying, so then the one in the center are those who are discriminated in Australia. So that's why Black Lives Matter to our comrades in Australia. And this is not my message, but it's also her message, by the way. So it's important that you understand. If anybody took it from that other direction, we're really sorry. We're trying to make sure that this small protest and all these stories that comes to you that means something, because those people who are here not in the center as much as those life of people who were taken by the brutal police and by the system, the structural oppression of systems globally. Those are the one we are targeting, and those lives that we want to honor for now and for life. Okay. So now we will have another speech, by our comrades speaking about India. Let's remember India, when we all were a bit privileged here, still complaining about Corona, there was 120 million people lost their jobs in India. And those are life and people that have not a system that is just built for first-class people in the world. This universal apartheid that we live in, where those who live here have the biggest privilege, where many freelancers, since Berlin is a freelancing country, got a couple of thousands in their pockets to continue surviving. We still complained a lot, by the way, I know. But let's hear our comrade speaking about police brutality in India. Here is Sana. No justice, no peace!
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 Can we put our hands up, please? No justice, no peace!
No justice, no peace!
No justice, no peace!
No justice, no peace!
Black Lives Matter!
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 No justice, no peace, no racist police. I'm here to extend my solidarity as an Indian with the Black Lives Matter movement and with all political struggles against police brutality in the world. We are witnessing today a collapse of unjust and unequal institutions. And we are here today to demand justice and equality. As Frederick Douglass, a leader of the abolitionist movement in the US, said, "Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did, it never will." I'm also here to talk about India's political reality.
and the role of police in expanding the Indian government's fascist agenda. Police brutality is embedded in institutionalized racism and structural inequality in the country. Whether it is the historically ongoing violent attacks on Kashmiris, the Kashmiri protesters blinding them with pellet guns or shooting anti-fascist students and protesters across the country, the regime in India has allowed for a shameless display of police violence. The role of police sometimes allowing fascist attacks and loot minorities such as Muslims, the Dalits, the Adivasis, which are the indigenous people, or themselves attacking these people has been ongoing since a long, long time. The recent violent attacks in Delhi against Muslims happened in full witness of the police, with sometimes police being the perpetrators themselves. It is similar to what happened in 1984 to our own Sikh sisters and brothers. The violent police encounters and torture involving innocent men and women in Hashimpura in the state of UP, or the Kashmiri indigenous or Adivasis in the Bastar region in central India have all been carried out with impunity. The rampant crimes by police have been carried out without facing the full force of law. Therefore, resist we must. Our countries can remain democracy only so long as the people protest. We have to ensure that our countries do not become a police state. But most importantly, we must realize that our fight is much larger. It is beyond singular economic, social, or even the struggle for ethnic and racial equality. Our anger must be projected at the deep-seated power of inequality. That is, we must engage in the class struggle. Our political economic system is designed in a way that some humans are superior than the rest. Capitalism has sustained for too long on the creation of unequal social relations between human beings. And in order for us to achieve full equality, we must topple the productive system of inequality. Thank you. Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter.
No justice, no peace, no racist police.
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 Thank you.
Hallo, mein Name ist Edgar. Ich möchte gerne eine Erklärung vorlesen von Bob Avakian, und zwar zum Mord an George Floyd. Also, der brutale Mord an dem schwarzen George Floyd in Minneapolis, der alle Züge eines modernen Lynchmordes und einer Hinrichtung auf offener Straße aufwies, hat Empörung in aller Welt hervorgerufen. Protest und Aufruhr brach in zahlreichen Städten der USA aus. Die Erhebung der Volksmassen und ihr Ruf nach Gerechtigkeit findet Widerhall rund um die Welt. Die nachfolgende Erklärung von Bob Avakian verweist jetzt eben auf entscheidende Lehren, die aus dieser Situation zu ziehen sind. Also, an all jene, die sich so machtvoll erhoben haben und nach dem Mord an George Floyd und all den anderen kaltblütigen Morden durch die Polizei demonstrieren und Schluss damit zu sagen. An all jene, die sich von dieser Berechtigung